Coming up on this episode of Tom Talks Rubbish.
I can't be for everybody. There's so many different content creators out there, and everybody has their own unique personality. And it's like, if I fit your personality, then I appreciate your support. And if you don't like what I put out, I'm not going to feed into it because I'm going to continue to go and continue to put out content no matter what.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Tom Talks Rubbish, and stand back with another interview. This time, I'm joined by the one and only Mona. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to chat with you. But before we get into any of your amazing work, where do you first discover wrestling as an overall fan, my friend?
Where did I discover it, you said?
Like, how did you become a wrestling fan, for lack of a
Oh,
better?
well, it started off with my grandpa, and then my grandpa was watching it, then my dad started watching it, and then that's how I got into it.
Hmm. Do you remember the moment that you were like, yeah, this is cool what dad and grandpa watch, sort of thing?
You know, during the Monday Night Wars was when I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, everybody's fighting for who's got the best, show, and Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon just purchasing the company, but no one knew about it at the time. And I kind of liked drama back then, and I was young, so that really drew me in.
So it was the Monday Night Wars that drew you in, but by the sound of it, it was more the tail end of the Monday Night Wars. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So are we talking like 2000s WWF with like The Rock versus Triple H at Backlash, for
Yeah,
example?
like that time, NWO just forming and DX having their time, Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Those were on the times that I was like that I could remember the best.
Ah, that's really, really cool. So when you first discovered wrestling, are you someone that's like, I need to learn everything I can about this? Or was it the sort of thing where you were like, this is cool, but not for me, maybe?
No, I actually, here's the thing. A lot of times, I'll be honest, when Monday Night Raw would go till 11, but it would go overtime, it was one thing that I was like, oh, that's like an excuse for me to stay up, and I don't have to go to sleep for
Hmm.
school. So it was like, that was another thing that drew me off, aside from just like wrestling, the content itself, the product itself, was like, oh, I could stay up with my dad really late, and as mad as my mom gets, I kind of have like a pass.
What was your sort of biggest I'm tired in school moment, but you got to see this, for example, the night before?
Can you repeat the question? My cat's scratching at the door, driving me crazy.
No problem. Basically, what was your sort of like, um, yeah, I'm tired in school today, but at least I got to see this last night
Oh,
sort of thing on Monday
oh
night
gosh.
on Raw or WCW.
That is a good one. Man, that's a really good. Oh gosh, you're making me go back. Um, there was a time, and I don't remember exactly the year. I'm sure people will help me on this. But it was when there was the Undertaker and Kane, and then they had like a father, and they were brothers, and um, like one it was just like Kane was like in his fire and all that, and they got into a big argument, and that was like my, oh gosh, like I'm glad, like I couldn't talk to anybody about it, but I was just glad that I could stay up for it. But because back then a lot of people around me never watched the product itself, so like around that time I can't specifically pinpoint what like day or what really happened. I just remember because I was younger that I was into the drama of Kane Undertaker, you know, and that whole storyline.
Has it changed? Has your fandom changed in any where you're like, I, but like, has your fandom changed in any respect? Like the drama drew you in. Did your fandom ever change to the point where the moves are cool, if you know?
Yeah, you cut off just a little bit, but you did ask me if my fandom has changed since back then.
Yeah, in the sense of like you said like the storylines were what drew you in.
Yeah,
So have you ever had the moment where it's like the moves are actually as well?
yeah, back then, like you said, I was kind of more into the storylines and the drama, and then the moves did draw me in, but it took me until I got a little older to kind of like respect what people had to do. Like Rey Mysterio, for instance. Like
Yeah.
that was like, okay, you know what? This is like different than just storylines. Like people got moves. So around when like Rey Mysterio started to come up is when I was like, all right, I gotta try to pay attention to all of it.
Who is the person? You talked about moves there. What's your favorite move in pro
Oh, my favorite move in pro wrestling. That's a great question. Um, Most probably the Tombstone by the Undertaker, and I know that sounds pretty generic, but it's just something that stuck with me since I was a child. So it's just I just like when he hit that, I was like, I knew it was over, you know. Back then, obviously, as years progressed, it changed.
What is it now as we record this in March of 2025?
I would say CM Punk go to sleep
Why does that one speak to you as a fan?
because I like CM Punk is somebody that I relate to in a personal level. Like his personality and mine, I feel like are very similar. Just like he recently said to Cody Rhodes, back then he would, obviously sell his soul to be, somebody, and now he just doesn't care. And
Mm.
I'm like that. A lot of times, if I could go back and give my younger self advice, is I wish I never cared, like with certain things as I was aging. And so it's like, that's why, I just feel like I connect with CM Punk.
That's really, really cool. You talked about there giving your younger self advice, and I apologize, but my interviews just sort of ping pong everywhere, and we sort
It's
of like,
okay.
you know what I mean? So, like, you talked about giving your younger self advice. If you could give your younger self advice about content creation, what do you think that would be?
It would be just if I could go back when I first started, I would say don't care what people think. I was very particular about what I was posting because I was always concerned people would say things about certain things that I would record and not just post it. So I would go back and say you could have started this a lot sooner if you just weren't so worried about what the outside world will think, because I always am an advocate for being true to yourself, but it was very hard for me to my younger self to do that.
When did that switch sort of happen then, Mona, that you were like, I'm just going to be true to myself and do what I like?
I would say about 2 years ago, is when I was like, it took me some time actually, but I would say about 2 years ago is when I was like, you know what, this is just who I am. I know you've seen some of my content itself, but like when I'm
Mm.
ringside, it's like, okay, I used to be like, man, people are gonna think like I'm super annoying ringside, but it's like that's my character. That's who I am in this wrestling content bubble. Like I like to try to get interactions with people, and you know, majority of the people enjoy it. And I was like, well, I don't want to annoy somebody. I don't want this. But then it's like I make friends with people around me. So when they hear me do these things, like they're laughing with me and enjoying it with me during the show.
That's really, really cool. You talked about there that like you can get wrestlers to do interactions and things like that and other fans. Who's been the person that you're like, you won't want to do this? Maybe you got to tick them off your bucket list, sort of thing.
Oh, wow, probably Solo Sokoa. Because I'll be honest with you, with the Solo Sokoa interaction, like I've obviously got a few reactions out of him. Um, I was like, okay, am I going to be annoying to him? Because when he first started to really shine in WWE after, Roman Reigns got dethroned by Cody Rhodes, I
Mm.
was like, okay, I didn't really he was obviously very heel, and I said, well, what if I annoy him? And I don't know his personality like that just yet. Like I can understand like people like Grayson Waller or Austin Theory. Like I know I can kind of like respectfully push my buttons with them. So Solo Sikoa is the one where I was like, crap, what do I do? But I got a moment where he looked at the crowd and obviously was towards my direction, and I just said, you're gonna lose. Like I just screamed that. And because I got a uh because I got a reaction out of him, I said, okay, I'm gonna push it a little more and see, where it goes. And it ended up getting better. So every time I saw him, I would just continue to say something. One time I got him to like slightly smile, and I was like, all right, I know I'm good. I know he's not taking it, that I'm being a rowdy fan. So that was the one where I was like, ooh, I don't know if I could do this, but it ended up working out.
Who's the person that you're like, it'd be cool to get them to get a reaction from them that maybe you haven't yet?
Who did I try with and it didn't work? I've tried Roman a few times, but Roman, yeah, I can't get that guy to say anything for the life of him. I've gotten Paul to kind of give me some dirty looks ringside, so that was very good. But the one person that I've been trying, I'm trying to think. There's a few because I try as many as I can. You know, the opportunities that I get. Um, you know who I haven't got ringside? I've gotten Grayson Waller to get some interaction with him. I've obviously got one at Payback last year, but I'd like to get one of him ringside because he's just like the ultimate heel and I love it, but it's really hard to get his attention.
What's the difference then? You talked about getting reactions from wrestlers at ringside. What's the difference, do you think, in getting a reaction from a wrestler at ringside to maybe at a convention or at a press conference during something that's scheduled, for lack of a better word?
Well, I say this a lot when I talk about it. Ringside, it really is. The difference is it's a lot harder because it's a live audience and you don't know what you're gonna get. There's no, there obviously security and everything, but there's nobody facilitating, the interactions. So it's like I always say, like I have to be as respectful as possible, but still stay in character with myself. Obviously, a lot of superstars know who I am. They've interacted on some of the things I posted.
Hmm.
So it's just a lot harder because I'm trying to make sure I always come off respectful, but still, like I said, stay in character and always put out there that it's like this is just like a respectful thing and it's just a lot of just trying to get some giggles and laughs and be different than what you see at a convention. Because you could go to a convention and kind of like pre-plan what you're gonna do and talk to them prior to the interaction itself. But ringside, you never know what you're gonna get. And I'm always trying to make sure I stay respectful.
What is the, I don't, I hate the word worse, but like, what is the one that you're like, okay, that didn't work. We're not going to do that again.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to, oh, wow, that's a good one. I'll be honest with you. I'm not gonna throw anything out there because I kind of pre-plan if I know who's gonna be there, what I'm gonna try because I know there are some of them that will give you no interaction. So like Jimmy and Jay Uso, I got them one time, and then after that, I stopped because I could not get any more out of them. But I just kind of already pre-plan in my head who I think is gonna it's gonna work with. So I don't really have anyone it hasn't worked with because I kind
You
of
have
get
a
a
rough
feel.
idea, sort of thing.
Yeah, I kind of get a feel who I know I can get interaction out of.
Have you done anything with John Cena yet?
That I would like to. I would like to. I've been trying to push his buttons on social media, but it's not working. Um, but nothing with John Cena. I've only enjoyed watching him wrestle, obviously up until now that he's turned heel.
Mm.
But I do hope in the future I can get something with John Cena, even if he's a heel. I might be able to this time. It's usually easier with a heel
Why is it easier with a hill, do you think?
because they thrive off of it, and we thrive off of it too as
Ah.
fans. So that's
Is it true what they say, do you think? The hills have more fun?
yes, to a certain extent. Sometimes fans can be a little rough with heels, but I do believe they enjoy it, and it's so much easier to hate on something than try to draw in love from a community that has so many different opinions. So if you're a heel, you don't care what anybody has to say. So it's easier.
You talk about a community that has so many different opinions. That's a brilliant segue to do like negative comments on your videos, on content, things like that. Do negative
You,
comments affect you at all?
negative comments can affect anyone as a whole, but I tend to never give it any attention unless it's something where I can find a funny response to. And but I just always try to ignore it the best I can because I can't, like I said, I can't be for everybody. You know, there's so many different content creators out there, and everybody has their own unique personality. And it's like, if I fit your personality, then I appreciate your support. And if you don't like what I put out, you know, I'm not going to feed into it because I'm going to continue to go and continue to put out content no matter what.
That's really, really cool. You talk about your content there, and we've talked about it a little bit. So, how did you get started in this crazy world of wrestling content creation?
It started with me going to events and sitting ringside and me realizing that I have a big mouth, which is true. I talk a lot, and I said, okay, you know, I started talking to wrestlers and I started to film, and I noticed it started to pick up traction, and I said, hold on. The one thing that I can say that is different than a lot of people is that I can do some unscripted storylines with these wrestlers ringside because I kind of have that personality where I like to talk to people and mess around with them. So when I started going to events is when I was like, you know what, I want to continue to do this. And I've have, you know, some issues with Grayson Waller, you know, fun ones obviously with Rhea Ripley, Solo Sikoa. So I have a lot of, you know, so I just started to thrive off that. And I noticed that was something that was different out there. And I said, if I'm able to do something different, like, why not continue to do it?
What was the platform that these initially went viral on? Was it TikTok or was it YouTube?
It was TikTok, and I had a video over 50 million views of Rhea um, talking some smack to my daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How does that feel when you, how do I put this? When your daughter's involved, how do you sort of feel about that? If that
What's nice is that she's old enough to understand that there are heels and there are baby faces in the company. And listen, a lot of people tell me, and I here's speaking of negative comments, is like, how dare you let somebody talk to your daughter like that, or how dare you take them to these type of events? Well, my daughter didn't sleep all night because of how she's like, oh, did you hear what she said to me, mom? Like, I can't believe she wants to fight me. And she was like thriving off of it. She
wow.
loved it. You know, she still talks about it till today. Me and Rhea Ripley still go back and forth about this till today. But uh it's not affecting my kids in a negative way. It's only giving them memories that they can live with and grow up with. And so it makes me happy that I'm able to give them, you know, like these happy, like rude interactions with wrestlers, and they know it's, you know, it's all out of love. So
Mm.
for me, it's more wholesome for me that I'm able to that they're able to have that because I never got that when I was younger.
No, I understand what you're saying completely there. If, and God forbid, I hope this does not happen, if a wrestler crossed the line with your family, though, would you sort of be like, okay, maybe we won't come to these events so much? What would you do in that situation, should I say?
I highly doubt that situation would ever happen. I'll be honest with you. A lot of security knows us there. A lot of wrestlers, like I said, know that. Um, I just don't see that happening. I think, especially with and speaking on behalf of WWE, they know they know their limits. They know what they could do. They know what kids. I mean, at the end of the day, kids are going to be upset.
Mm.
So I don't see that happening, to be honest with you. And because the kids know, the kids have fun, and they're pretty respectful anyways for them to be in that situation. It would be me, if anything, that they would, you know, give me like some sort of heel interaction with.
No, I understand that, and I was just genuinely curious there.
Yeah.
But how do you sort of decide, okay, I'm going to go to this event and so and so's on the card. I'm going to try and get a reaction with them. How do you sort of plan out going to events like that?
So obviously, like I could go to events around the Midwest all the time. If they come to Michigan, where I'm from, it's nice to go. But I'll look at the card prior. Usually they'll say, you know, usually they'll give the card on the website. So like let's just say it's at the hockey arena that usually they hold it at. I'll go on their website and look, and they'll be able to promote who's going to be there. And that's when I'll be like, okay, well maybe I can mess with this person, or maybe I can talk to this person. And sometimes I just leave it alone, you know. And but like I said, I'm just it's different content that you see out there, so it's always nice that I stay consistent with that. And that's how I decide. But I don't really, I'll be honest with you, I don't decide what I'm gonna say to them. It's just kind of like off the top of my head.
Hmm. What has been the thing that, because I know Drew McIntyre in an interview I saw was really pleased with his CM Punk insult that was just off the top of his head, where I believe the insult was something along the lines of, for someone that's straight edge, he's been in rehab quite a bit recently. I believe that was one of it. What is the insult off the top of your head that you're like, yep, I can hang my hat on that. I'm very proud of that.
I definitely would say nothing like that. No. I look, I don't really do anything other than like, oh, you're gonna lose or you suck or I did that with Ludwig Kaiser and he gave me a great interaction and it was great. Even Tiffy loved it. And but it's I don't ever say anything other than that. I kind of keep it very short and simple because I'm such an advocate of just staying as respectful as possible when I do these interactions.
Talk about staying respectful a lot and things like that, and I think that's really cool. What is your advice for anyone that maybe wants to do what you do but is shy and things like that? Do you have any advice for people that want to be creators?
Yeah, if you ever want to be a creator, like I said, be unique to yourself. Don't care about other people's opinion because who you are is who you are and you can't change that for others. And you have to remind yourself you're not always going to make everybody happy with your takes or your content itself. If you're looking to get some content at events, go have fun. Have
Mm,
fun with it. And, you know, stay genuine to yourself because if you do that, then people are going to be drawn into your product naturally versus, hey, you know, they're trying to be a certain way. But no, people can tell when you're genuine to yourself and your own personality.
that's really, really cool. Where is your current fandom as we record this in March of 2025? What is the shows that you're like, even if I'm not there, I'll make sure I check it out?
Outside of WWE,
WB out WB outside. Where is your current fan?
man, even if I'm not there, I'll still check it out. Honestly, anything WWE, I'll be honest with you. I've always connected so naturally just you know, with WWE and the talent and being able to do media and everything like that. So I'll be honest, anytime I miss something WWE, I'm definitely watching. I'm excited to watch the LFG show that they started putting out. I have not been able to check that out yet, but I really would like to watch it. Um, like I said, Saturday Night Live. I really want to check that out one time.
Hmm.
That would be really nice. So anything WWE, I'll be honest with you, like I always try to be involved in and watch and understand or see what's new out there.
Hmm. You talk about anything WWE though, but I'm I'm assuming that means you're not one of those people that like every other wrestling needs to die, right? You
No,
don't believe in tribalism in wrestling, right?
absolutely not. I still watch other products. I still go to other product shows. But no, everybody, I definitely have zero tolerance for that. I actually do block people that speak like that because everybody, has different opportunities and there are so many different promotions out there from indies to the bigger leagues. And you know what? I respect and support people and what they're trying to do because I love this industry so much.
Hmm. You talk about loving this industry so much and things like that. What is on your bucket list as a creator that you still want to do?
I would like to, oh man, bucket list. I would like to speak to Roman Reigns one day. I would hope that I ever get a moment to speak to Roman and pick his brain a little bit with a lot of questions that not only me, but other people do have.
Really, really cool. Who are the other creators that you look up to? You talk about that you want to work with Roman Reigns and things like that. Obviously, Ilsa the Demon Diva spoke very highly of
I
you
love D.
when
Yeah,
I
I
had her
love
on the
D. I
show
love Isa. She's great.
and things like that. Who are the other creators that you're like, I might not have posted a video today, guys, but go and check this person.
Look, there's a lot of creators that I support out there that are awesome. Minnie's one of them. I love Minnie. She's great. Her personality, everything about her is just wonderful. Obviously, Isa, you just spoke about her. I love to connect with her every time we're at media. Santi, Conman, Wheezy, those are pretty good people that I definitely support. BDE, Queen of the Ring, Alex, Malcolm,
Mm,
is awesome. And Justin from the Wrestling Classic, Adam from the Foundation. Those are like, if I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. But those are my good friends that I support myself, whether I'm a content creator or not.
that's really, really cool. How do you deal with? I know we spoke about it a little bit, but how do you deal with like burnout as a creator? Maybe you've been to a lot of events and things like that. So how do you sort of go, okay, guys, I've posted a lot this week. I'm gonna. How do you deal with that when you think I'm tired as a
So
creator?
I never hold myself to a certain standard of how many videos or things I need to post. I
Mm,
just do it as I naturally can because I want my content to be, I don't want it to be forced. So I
mm.
don't ever put pressure on myself like, oh my God, I have to post today, or today's Raw, or it's a Friday and it's SmackDown. Like, I just post when I can because obviously I do this for fun. I do for the love of wrestling. So, and we all have our own lives on top of that. So I always make sure I just post when I can and don't stress myself out about it.
That's really, really cool. You talk about having a life outside of wrestling there. How do you balance your content with being a mum, with having a life outside of wrestling, basically?
So a lot of times I try to, put a schedule. I have a schedule. Okay. It's my family schedule and a wrestling schedule. And I try to stick to that to the best way I can. I was just in Toronto this weekend and I needed to be back Sunday. So because I had a family event. So it's like, all right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be go to Toronto as fast as I can and come back as fast as I can. I know I'm gonna be super tired, but I'm gonna do it. So it's like I'm okay with it, especially if I get like especially around PLE events. I'm okay with it because I know at the end of the day I'm gonna get my sleep. It might take me a couple days to get that sleep, but I'm doing what I love and I'm still making sure that I put my priority, which is my family first, and still being able to do what I need to do with them.
Talk about family first there, and I think that's so inspiring, sort of thing that you have it all, for lack of a better word. And like, so how do you sort of discuss with your family? Okay, I'm going to Toronto this weekend and things like that. How do you sort of balance that schedule, if you know what I mean?
So a lot of times they come with me to these PLEs, just depending on what's going on for the weekend. My husband's my number one supporter. He came with me to the Rumble, and he was like my biggest help there that entire weekend. But a lot of times we just go together as a family. And if it's not like Toronto, for instance, I mean, I know ahead of time if I'm going. So everybody's just always so helpful. I have a great, family that supports me and helps me when I need it. My mom, shout out to my mom, she's always helping me as well. So
Mm.
if we go to these events, a lot of like 9 times out of 10, we're all going as a family. I'll do the work that I got to do, and we still reconcile at the end and go to the event.
Is your husband a wrestling fan?
He's a huge wrestling fan.
Oh wow.
Huge. He grew up a wrestling fan just like I did, and he's actually probably more educated than I am because he's got a brain of a sponge and he can remember everything. But he is a big wrestling fan, and we have similarities in who we like, and it's great.
Biggest disagreement you have as a wrestling couple, if you know what I mean?
He said Roman shouldn't have dropped the belt at WrestleMania 40, and I did. So definitely mixed emotions when that happened.
You brought up there Roman dropping the belt. I see you have an American Nightmare jacket on. So,
I
what was
do.
your thoughts on that whole Cody becoming champion sort of thing? Should it have happened the year before? What was your thoughts on that?
I'm glad it happened at WrestleMania 40 because it made it much more sweeter for him versus his first, like, his main event at WrestleMania 39. I felt like the buildup would have been is which it was would have been better to wait till WrestleMania 40 because the shock value was still there and I loved it. So I love the way it played out. I at first when I thought that it was going to be Rock versus Roman, I was a Cody crybaby. I did the hashtag we want Cody and I didn't stop until he got his moment. And it's because how much this guy has dedicated to his career, how much he's been through. And after speaking with him at the Royal Rumble, the man literally puts his heart and soul into this company and still is able to balance his personal life and spend time with his wife Brandy and his daughter. So for me, it's like I wanted that for him because I see what he's doing with, the fans, how much time he puts into it. And we've interacted a lot of times at the end of shows, and it's an hour past the show and the guy's still signing autographs and taking pictures. Like, that's a champion and he deserves to be one.
And this might date this podcast slightly, but oh well. Does you talked about John? Sorry, I've given away the question there. You talk about there Cody signing autographs and doing everything that John Cena was doing in his sort of prime of the PG era. So does the John Cena heel turn that we saw Saturday at the Chamber as we record this happen if Cody isn't in the position he's in?
Yeah, are you asking me if I'm happy about it? Like with the
Uh,
John Cena turn?
A, are you happy about it? But does it happen if Cody's not where he is as sort of the face of the company, do you think?
Oh, well, I don't, I don't think Cody will turn heel, even if it didn't happen with John Cena, because
Hmm.
Cody at a different promotion was not really wanting to be a heel, but the fans kind of made him into a heel.
Um,
He would throw his belt into the crowd for someone to take, and they would throw it back at him. And I saw that that was just not something Cody wanted. And I see the turnaround now where now he gives a belt, and it's like the kids are happy. And you can see it makes Cody happy and everything he does. Like he'll find somebody will say, "Hey, I'm going to be at the show," and he'll be like, "Hey, I'll look out for you." And you sure believe he finds that fan, and gives them love. So I don't think it would have ever happened, or I don't want to say never, but I don't think it would have happened now, regardless. And because of that, I believe that's why John Cena decided to take that part instead of
hmm.
because you can't have two baby faces going into WrestleMania.
Hmm. I never thought of it that way. My favorite Cody interaction on social media has to be the "Will you be my best man" thing. I don't
Oh
know if
yeah,
you.
that was great. Didn't he do a gender reveal too? I think.
I, I should have researched this, but off the top of my head. But if he did,
I think I don't know. It's been some great. He's done some wonderful things, and the best man thing that one takes the cake. And with his busy schedule, that's awesome.
that's really really cool. As we look at wrapping this up, because I do want to be respectful of your time, uh, I'm curious to talk about success and things like that. If you stepped away tomorrow, Mona, would you view your career as a success in this space? And what would you want your legacy to be?
If I stepped away, would I say yes? I would say that it's been successful for me. I've It was crazy because I was thinking to myself earlier about like how this is something I've been wanting to do since I was younger. And I wanted to go to school for it. And I went to college and then I got very ill and I dealt with some health issues back in my teen years. And I wasn't able to continue at that time to finish what I wanted to do. And um, I would say I have found happiness and success through this. Am I done? No. I want to keep going. I love it. But if I had to walk away, I would be very happy because it's been an accomplishment to do what I've done so far.
What do you think your legacy in this space is?
Oh my, I don't even, I don't, I don't, maybe the fact that I was able to interview the American Nightmare, the champion, you know,
Hmm.
um, and the fact that I'm able to have these storylines with wrestlers ringside.
Hmm. Really, really cool. As we look at wrapping this up, Mona, because like I said, I do want to be respectful of your time. We're going to do a segment that is a staple on this channel called Generic Wrestling Questions. Those of you that have seen my interviews before, but now where you'll be asked your favorite match, favorite pay-per-view card, such as WrestleMania 40, for example, favorite wrestler's entrance theme, favorite tag team, and favorite wrestler. Basically, the questions I assume you're asked on social media. So now you'll have a place to be like, I've answered this. Please go watch this. So, what's your favorite match of all time?
Favorite match of all time. Oh, wow. There's so many. So that this is going to be a hard one. I I don't even. That is this. Oh, that's very hard. I don't have a favorite, to be honest with you. I don't have a favorite. There's just way too many for me to choose from.
Hmm. Is there one that you're like, maybe it's not your favorite, but one that you recommend to people?
Or let me say this, I'll tell you what my most emotional one was.
Ooh.
It was The Undertaker versus HBK. It was career versus streak.
Why was that your most emotional moment as a fan?
Because that was my first WrestleMania ever that I was able to attend. And I was finally able to see Shawn Michaels. And the first time I saw him wrestle, it was the last of his career. So it was emotional for me.
That's really, really cool. What about your favorite overall pay-per-view card?
Oh gosh. Well, listen, anything Royal Rumble screams like into my soul. I love Royal Rumble so much. So
Mm.
anyone is great. I loved was it man, what year? It was the one in St. Louis. It was a few years back. I think Alicia Fox came back and there was Shane came back, Shane O'Mac came back, Shane McMahon. I can't remember what year that was. I think it was 2017. I could be wrong. Don't come at me.
Who won that year? Do you remember?
I don't. You want to know why I don't remember? Because I was very stressed out because it was the first time I took my kids to like a PLE
Ah,
and I wasn't like, I didn't know how they were going to be, so I forgot who won. And I'm sure the wrestling community can tell me.
I'll look it up because there'll be a picture of the event. It's sort of in the box as we speak
Yeah.
about it. What about your favorite wrestler's entrance theme?
Ooh, ooh. Okay, Undertaker's one of them. And I love it. Scares me every time. Um, Finn Balor, but when he's like the devil Finn Balor,
Oh,
you
the
know?
demon.
Yeah.
That's really
And like, oh, that entrance gets me every time. Bianca Belair, she's all hype, and I love hers. I'm always dancing. Um, those are like my favorite.
really cool. Who's your favorite tag team of all
Not Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, that's
time?
for sure. Uh, Tag team, the Usos when they were tag team was great. I loved how everybody hated it, and I loved it.
Why did I speak to you as a fan, my friend?
You know, it's really interesting to see two twins have it and their chemistry. You know, when can you see that again, where two twin brothers actually are tag team champions?
Really cool. Then finally, Mona, the biggest generic question, in my opinion. Who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Oh, no question asked, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin is who I grew up watching. I know he had some neck issues in the past, but he was still able to deliver on TV. And I hope he comes back and helps Cody this WrestleMania.
I would not be opposed to that. I'm not going to lie. And then, obviously, I want to say thank you for a great conversation. But the question I end this show on is I believe, as YouTubers, podcasters, even just people with social media, we're all sort of going to live forever in a very, very weird way, if you think about the word. So, what is one piece of content you're like, I'd like to be remembered for that? And then, what is one that you're like, nah, you guys can forget about that?
Um, well, the one you could forget about is I don't think I could stream. I don't think I could do streaming like some other wrestling content creators do. I give them so much credit that they could do it
Mm.
because it does definitely take a lot of time to be a part of. So I don't think you'll ever see me streaming. I mean, sometimes I'm on, TikTok live talking, but to actually like sit down and stream, I I never say never, but I don't think I could do it. Um, and one thing like I wish I could be a part of.
No, what's one piece of your content you're like, I'd like people to remember that?
I would like people to remember piece of content. I just I don't know. That's a good one. I just want people to remember me just off of messing around with wrestlers and making them giggle or break character. That would be good. Or even when all my equipment failed when I was just about to interview LA Knight, and that was interesting.
What happened there then? What did you do?
I,
Just not do the interview?
no, so like he was taller, and the way it was set up, and I'm trying to set up, he goes, it's not tall enough. I'm like, just stand back, like stand further back. But then we looked too far from the camera. It got all, he didn't want me to edit any of it out, so I did leave it. And then my light started to fall. It was bad. It was so bad. Oh my God, I was so embarrassed. But he made it so funny. And like, I thanked him so much for just like being patient with me, because it's not easy. There's, a lot of people there trying to get their, interview in.
That's really, really cool. As we wrap this up, obviously, I want to say thank you to Mona for a great conversation. But please promote yourself. Where can the good people find you, your work, etc.?
You can find me all over social media: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I don't really use Facebook that much. X at the one Mona. Some of them have an extra A at the end and some don't.
It's well worth doing, guys. One of the hardest working people in this space, but one of the nicest as well. So if you guys like this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Tom Talks Rubbish on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter or X at Tom Talks Rubbish. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye now.
Thanks for watching this Tom Talks Rubbish conversation. Before you go, please make sure you leave a like on the video, share it around, and subscribe to Tom Talks Rubbish on YouTube, as well as follow Tom Talks Rubbish on Twitter/X.